Thank you for everyone who's joining me today. I'm very excited. An entire day about DMT has been awesome for us at Psilera. It's been a really great amount of talks too. So full disclosure, my background is in organic chemistry, so I do tend to get into the weeds a little bit with some of the science and data that we've got going on. So I'm really happy with even Mr. Moreau's talk right before mine and some of the other talks earlier today have really, I think, given you a good foundation as to the potential for DMT, some of the clinical aspects, some of the neurological aspects, and really how great this compound could be as a medicine. So I'm going to go into a little bit more behind our company, Psilera, and some of the data and research we've been doing. So we're more early stage than some of the other stuff you've seen today, even to early drug discovery and innovation. So looking at DMT, but also why DMT works, how it works, what receptors is it hitting, how can we potentially modify DMT, and some of those aspects of it. So I was just going to start with a really simple statement by Dr. Rick Strassman, who I know has a talk tomorrow. And in DMT, a spirit molecule, he says he likes to think of psilocybin and psilocin as orally active DMT. And I'm sure today it's been mentioned before that DMT is not orally available. So you could take up to I think there was a study where they got up to a gram of pure DMT, ingesting it, and still didn't feel much of anything. So it's really important to see it as it does have similarities to psilocybin and psilocin. It also has some other benefits, but that it's not orally bioavailable. And that's really one of the challenges that we wanted to tackle at Psilera. And one of the other aspects is also looking at, okay, well, why does ayahuasca work? I know this was also mentioned today, but we always like to go back to our roots. So my background, again, organic chemistry, but specifically in natural products, drug discovery. So how do we find new drugs from nature and how do we optimize them? Because a lot of these compounds are not really made for just treating human ailments, right? A lot of them have other purposes in nature. So it's finding the best way to translate that into a solid, standardizable, consistent medication for patients. And now ayahuasca ceremonies are really very similar to the concept in pharmaceuticals of combination therapy. So they do have one plant species, typically a vine, that has an MAOI, a monoamine oxidase inhibitor. This is similar to MAOIs, as you may know them as antidepressants. And that blocks the enzyme in your metabolism that would usually break down DMT when you eat it. And it would cause DMT to not be able to get to the brain or not be able to get to other parts of your body that make it more psychoactive or give some of the positive neuroplastic effects or neurogenesis effects. So in this case, you have kind of this combination therapy, this natural remedy, and we have a lot of data and information on it from generations of the use in Central and South America. And how do we then translate that into sort of how we know the medical world today, but how do we do it in a way that is still mindful? And so here, over time, I think it's been about 100 years now looking for DMT in other places. We've actually found it in over 50 plant species, multiple animal species, including humans. And so we often get the question of, well, why aren't we just using the natural compound then? Why do we have to go through the rigmarole of purifying, synthesizing, going through the pharmaceutical process? And really the main focus there is there are a lot of aspects of natural products that are not ideal from a drug discovery perspective. And one of the major hurdles, especially in psychedelics, and this is across psychedelics, is going to be what's sustainable and also having a positive impact on ecosystems. So one of the major issues, especially with psychedelics, whether it be peyote, which grows very slow and is getting over harvested all the time. Same with the iboga tree for ibogaine. You have, we've seen it in natural products for a long time where corals get over harvested for cosmetics or sea cucumbers for Chinese medicine. It happens across plant, animal species, marine species. And really the focus is to get away from some of those methods because there are billions of people in the world now. And if we want to create a medicine that is going to reach as many of those people as possible, we have to have a sustainable way of doing it. And we also have to have a consistent way that is predictable, that is going to be the same every time for every patient. And that's really one of the major aspects of why we chose to go with pure DMT, and now looking into better ways to deliver that to people, which I'll go into in a moment. One good example of how natural products are not really made for human consumption is Belladonna, which is deadly nightshade. This plant traditionally was used as a poison or a toxin to people. And that is another aspect of natural products that I think a lot of people like to forget about, is there are a lot of them that the purpose of the compounds they're producing is to kill you or to deter you from eating it or killing it. So in this case, the scopolamine patch, which many of you may have used before or may have had a doctor put on you if you were getting a surgery or any kind of nausea associated with the anesthesia when you're getting a surgery. And this is an excellent example of how they took a plant species that would typically have high toxicity, found compounds that had benefits in other ways to humans, did a lot of research and development, found optimal dosing, and found a use for it in people that has been extremely beneficial, and is now actually even being looked at for random levels of motion sickness and even NASA astronauts for space sickness.